If you are asked, who is cooking at Manchester United? Obviously, it's Erik ten Hag, the Dutch national, coming in at Old Trafford and doing wonders, landing a very perfect deal that we were linked on so very many times during the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and we never really landed this signing. But finally, it's a here we go, Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. If you've watched this guy play, he's a joy to watch. He's a joy to watch. And finally, the deal is done and dusted. Everything is done, as confirmed to Fabrizio Romano, that this deal is done and dusted. Welcome to United Matters channel. Sabitzer, 28 years of age. He's an Australian coming in from Bayern Munich. United have really signed him on loan until the end of the season. So smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe, smashing it. Hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Now, guys, smash the like button as we welcome Marcel Sabitzer to Old Trafford, to Carrington, to Manchester United, to be a Red Devil, to don into that red shirt. Guys, smash the red button, smash it close to 1,000 times, guys. For the very first time, let's break a record onto this channel by smashing the like button to 1,000 times. Not so, so this is the story and how it really came up. It is Fabrizio Romano who went on his Twitter while live on YouTube, telling us that Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United, here we go! Here we go! Full agreement reached on loan deal, no buy option confirmed. Deal set to be signed with Bayern in the final hours as personal terms agreed to. Boarding completed. That is Sabitzer to Manchester United. And it's really a very good, fantastic deal for Manchester United because, as I told you in the morning, all I've always told you when Fabrizio broke the story that Ten Hag is really looking for a player in the advanced position, I said Ten Hag is really making a fault onto this. He needs to get in a player who is a midfielder, because we also, the pain we went through when Casemiro never played the game of Arsenal, meaning that we needed to bring in a player in the levels of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Sofiane Amrabat. But all of those players required money. Caicedo, not for sale. Even when Arsenal made a bid of £70 million, Brighton were adamant, we are not selling the player. They kept their stance. Until now, Arsenal have gone in for Jorginho and they've gotten from Chelsea, meaning that for him, even if we had the money, we wouldn't have gotten him. Enzo Fernandez still now, if you are to get him now, it was 120 million euros and they wanted that money at once. Chelsea right now are struggling to get Enzo Fernandez amidst them singly into this battle to really sign the player Enzo Fernandez. So, Sofiane Amrabat, the loan fee that was requested by Fiorentina, would it have been met by Manchester United? I doubt it wouldn't, because even Barcelona have failed to get the player on the last hours of the transfer. Do you know why? Fiorentina failed them. So Ten Hag had to really scratch his head to find out a player like he did on Weghorst that fits the financial structure of Manchester United and the player that he really wants. And I think what accelerated this more is the injury of Eriksen. And they said we can't go any further without a player who plays in these positions. And we really went in for Sabitzer. Now, the reason that's why I've started with this video saying that Ten Hag is cooking, look at the options that we got in when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was here in the January transfer window of 2020. We got in Odion Ighalo and we got in Bruno Fernandes on cash. Meaning that if at all you had close to £60 million available to spend in the January transfer window, Ten Hag would have cooked and really brought in like 3 signings on a permanent deal. He would have gotten like, look at Trossard, he went to Arsenal at £21 million. So 60 would have divided it into 3 and gotten close to 3 players that are really great for the club of Manchester United. But finally has gotten Sabitzer. Sabitzer plays as a central defensive midfielder. He plays in the double pivot. He can play as a central attack midfielder and he can play on the wing too. So he's really a very talented player. And I don't want to undermine Eriksen, but I believe we've gotten in a player that's going to complement that midfield in a different way altogether more than Eriksen. Because one of the calls that we always made for Eriksen were simple, that his physical attribute is really not reaching the levels that we want at Manchester United. But this guy, Sabitzer, is just a beast in that midfield. Let me tell you how heavy he is. Sabitzer is 1.78 meters tall. That means he's quite tall. Then he's 76 kgs. That's it. So it shows you how good this guy is. And he can play as a midfielder, second striker, winger, and defensive midfielder. He's an all-round player. He's an all-round player. And that's how he's being referred to by the people that know him better at SofaScore and very many other outlets that really bring the news of this guy. So I faulted Ten Hag for calling in for a player to play in the advanced positions because Sancho can easily be integrated into the role of Bruno. You get? Facundo Pellistri can do that, but no other player can do a Casemiro role. That's it. We have no player to do the Eriksen role. So it was always better to get a player who is 3-in-1. He can do the Casemiro role, he can do the Eriksen role, and he can do the Bruno role. And obviously, we've managed to get in a Rolls Royce. This guy is one of a kind. And thank God that this deal has really gone as we wanted it. Because before Here We Go was announced, I read a story that, I think you watched it like 1 or 2 hours ago on this channel, that there is some negotiation still really going on between Manchester United and Bayern Munich to really get this deal done. That's it. I was here waiting for Here We Go I was here waiting for Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano because I thought United can bottle this deal because the biggest bottlers in the last 10 years have been Manchester United. You know that very well. We've lost out on very many deals because of the poor negotiations of these managers, of these people and negotiators of Manchester United and the board. Remember Patrice Evra in the summer of 2020, he came out and really said one agent called him late in the night that he was calling the negotiator of Manchester United and was not picking up. In this era of the transfer window, you have to keep awake. You have to keep awake. You get? You have to keep awake and your phone should be just an arm's way from your reach. That's it. But that's how poor we are. And some agents have really gone ahead to describe United negotiators as arrogant. And I ask myself, if at all you are arrogant, like those negotiators Manchester United, then you are supposed to be getting players on the cheap. Now, how does your arrogance and proudness help you when you are really ransomed in every deal? And we've been really turned into laughing stocks. You know that very well. So, this guy, known as Sofyan Amrabat, is really a cook that Ten Hag has really brought in to cook in the midfield of Manchester United. And you guys are really going to enjoy this guy. Promise me, he's not going to disappoint because he's talented. And if Ten Hag can turn around Aaron Wan-Bissaka, what of Marcel Sabitzer, Jacobs Ben? There is now an agreement between Manchester United and Bayern Munich for midfielder Marcel Sabitzer, as first reported by Sky Germany. It's a loan with no option to buy. Manchester United have a pretty clear run. Chelsea was never seriously in the race. Chelsea were really looking for a player known as Enzo Fernandez, but they really backed out because they knew that they needed maximum concentration down in Portugal, Lisbon, to get the deal of Enzo Fernandez done and dusted. So, Sabitzer, welcome to Manchester United. This is your new home. We are waiting to see him being given a shirt number and unveiled by Manchester United, obviously in the remaining hours, because when you look right now, the transfer window is closing like 4 hours from now. That's when it's really closing. Sorry, 3 hours from now. That's when the transfer window is closing in UK. That confirms to you that United have 3 hours to get this done, and I think they're going to get it done and dusted. Why? I've just gotten a story coming in from Sports Witness. You know, they are from Germany and they are tracking the flight of Marcel Sabitzer, that Marcel Sabitzer's jet has just flown over London and is heading to Manchester. So I tell you guys, I think by the time of recording and by the time of upload, he might have already jetted down in Manchester and undergoing his medical. So it shows you that we are on time. The calculations were made in a very clear and a professional way. The player has now his flight has flown over London and they are going to Manchester. That is where they are really going to go ahead and bid with the needful. And now after that, being told us about the flight, guess who comes in? It's Samuel Lucas of Manchester Evening News. Being fed in by the club, he has been told by the club of Manchester United about the flight and what they are preparing for this guy, meaning that everything is set for this guy to be driven to Carrington. And Samuel Locust, a correspondent of the Manchester Evening News, has told us that Manchester United already have transport at the Manchester airport to collect Marcel Sabitzer, due to have best part of 4 hours to complete transfer by the time he touches down. So by the time he touches down, he's going to be having 4 hours to complete his transfer, meaning that the medical will take like 30 minutes, get it done, out of the way, get the player submitting the papers to the Premier League, and Bayern Munich will have to consent with them. Then after, unveil the player as a United player. That is it. So everything is set for Sabitzer to come to Manchester United, a player who has always admired to play once again at Old Trafford. And they tell you that no one is tall enough to see what happens in the future. And it has been really revealed in this deal of Sabitzer, because the last time he came in at Old Trafford and they played against Manchester United at Old Trafford when he was playing for RB Leipzig, he said that he has always dreamed to play at Old Trafford. And this time around, he has played there for RB Leipzig. And maybe one day, one time, he would love to be a United player. Those were his words. But unlucky enough, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, George Mata, and I think Matt Judge were not able to really convince this player to join Manchester United. The player joined Bayern Munich, and after joining Bayern Munich, he is coming to Manchester United because of the huge competition in the midfield of Bayern Munich. There is Kimmich, there is Gretzka, there is Musiala, there is Gravenberch, and very many other talented players playing the midfield of Bayern Munich that have not yet given him enough time to enjoy his spell at Bayern Munich. That is Sabitzer coming into Manchester United. His dream is coming in true, and if at all he really thrives, United might get him on a permanent deal that won't even cost a lot of money in any way. So that is Sabitzer. Everything has been prepared. From there, he's going to be picked and obviously taken to Carrington, and Carrington is where he's going to undergo his medical. Then everything will be submitted to the Premier League and everything will go on done and dusted as planned by Erik ten Hag, the cooker of the day. Now, Simon Stones has told us that Erik ten Hag was not prepared to risk progress of his team through lack of numbers in the squad and moved quickly. So he moved quickly because he knew that he needed players. And towards the end of the transfer window, agents are really trying to get their players enough playing time, because every agent doesn't really feel okay when his agent is not really getting enough playing time at the club where he is. So the agents of Sabitzer were really offering him to Manchester United, and United said, we can really get him in. And Ten Hag moved fast because he knew that when Eriksson is away, he really needed someone in. And this is what Fabrizio told us, that on the deadline day, United will work out something because they might be looking in for something close to a midfielder or a forward by that time. But now Sabitzer is a red devil, and it's a here we go, deal done and dusted. Now, we've been told by Seth of Sky Sports that United not only were offered Sabitzer, but Isco, Hussein Aouar, and Yannick Carrasco were all offered to Manchester United today. Marcel Sabitzer is said to be the only arrival at the club today. So, when you look at the players offered, to me, I wouldn't like any of those apart from Sabitzer, because Hussein Aouar is like an advanced midfielder. Players a number 10. Plays deep in a double pivot, but he's not so good at really physical battles or what. He's really good at passing the ball, taking on players. He's a very brilliant player, but I believe Ten Hag really chose Sabitzer out of all those, because Sabitzer represents what Ten Hag really wants. Sabitzer is a beast. You guys are going to see Sabitzer, and I think tomorrow the game is going to be played at Old Trafford. He will be in the stands, and maybe he'll be unveiled to the fans. You never know what United are planning to do for him. But he will be in contention to make it to the match squad of United when you're facing a side called Crystal Palace. Reason being, you'll need a person like him to come out and revolutionize that midfield of United. I know it might be Freddie and Casemiro to start, but I believe Freddie won't play 90 minutes, or Casemiro won't play 90 minutes, or maybe the manager will go in for Sabitzer and Casemiro, because these are two talented players that can read themselves very well like a book, and it can make the system of Ten Hag will make them easy to play, because they have a very high football intelligence and their gameplay is really great because all of them can act as CDMs. That means Casemiro is going to be getting more liberty to explore the advanced positions of the pitch. You get? When Casemiro goes, Sabitzer will stay. When Sabitzer goes, then Casemiro will go. But for Eriksen playing to that position, it never allowed Casemiro to really make those to go in and really progress into that advanced position of the pitch because he knew that Eriksen couldn't handle shielding the back four. And you've seen every time Casemiro goes forward, he always comes in with an assist, a secondary assist, or a goal. So, is the Premier League ready for this midfield trio of Sabitzer, Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandes? Because their work rate is really out of this world. These people can run. These people can run. And today, I was listening to one of my local radio stations, and one pundit that I really trust a lot came out and I respect him a lot. He said that United doesn't press. He even talked about Bruno not pressing. When you look at the way Bruno runs in the field of play, I don't know how they know what pressing is all about. But I believe Bruno is really pressing very well. When you look at Weghorst is described as a pressing beast or a pressing monster. Anton Martial, Ten Hag has always described him that whenever he's in the field of play, we play very well, and his system is built onto the pinnacle of Anthony Martial. So we expect United to go in for Sabitzer and announce him later. Obviously, he's going to epitomize that midfield alongside Casemiro, and I believe we are going to enjoy that. We are going to enjoy the Premier League now. You know, a lot of worry was going through me that who is really going to go ahead and really play these games for us. But obviously, Sabitzer is in to get this job done and dusted. Yannick Carrasco, never wanted him because he plays wide. I've never seen him play in the midfield. So no reason to call in for him because he is really one of those that I don't really want to see play at Manchester United. Secondly, Isco, we are not in need of wingers. By the way, United is bloated as far as wingers are concerned. We are having even surplus to requirement, and I don't know why Ten Hag never sanctioned a loan of Anthony Elanga out, because you're having Sancho, Anthony, Facundo Pellistri, Elanga, Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford. You get? We're having close to 6-7 wingers at Manchester United, meaning that we might have needed to let out one, and no reason to bring in wingers. All we needed was a midfield, and I think the only player that has been talked about here that came close, or would have came close to Erik ten Hag and what he really desired, was Hussein Aouar. Then, from Italy, he's known as Matteo Moretto, told us that Manchester United have also asked Fiorentina about Sofian Amrabat. So United also asked Fiorentina about Sofian Amrabat, if at all they can really give them the player on loan and maybe try to buy him out later. And I think that's what really failed United to get in this player, because they don't know what their transfer plans are going to be in the summer. So there is no way they can go out to get in a player known as Sofian Amrabat on loan with a buy option. And his deal to Barcelona has failed. So I think Ten Hag saw to it that it was going to be hard for them to deal with Fiorentina and said, all right, let's not go into this one. Let's go to Sabitzer. And I tell you, we are having a very good player. We are having a very good manager, because he can get a player from Bayern Munich on loan. Could Solskjaer do that? Could Ole Gunnar Solskjaer convince any player to come in on the wee hours? The players he signed in the wee hours, Amad Diallo young, Pellistri was young, Cavani had nowhere to go. Tellers, we had negotiated that deal for like 3 to 4 weeks. So it shows you how ill we are in negotiating those deals. And I've also read a story that Saul Niguez was offered to us also. Saul Niguez, a player that came in and flopped at Chelsea, United were nowhere near getting him and landing him to Manchester United. So guys, thank you very much for watching in through. Rokan David is my name. Your reactions to Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United, here we go, are welcome in the comment section below. Which shirt number do you think is going to put on? Which shirt number do you think is going to put on? That is a player known as Sabitzer coming into Manchester United. This guy is a midfield guru. If at all you know him, he's really great. And I believe in Ten Hag. Every player he has signed at Old Trafford or at Carrington or for Manchester United has gone ahead to hit the ground running. Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Eriksen, Casemiro, Anthony. Just in 20 games played, he has really lit up. And I believe Sabitzer is an experienced player and he is a beast in what he does. He's one of the best players that we've seen that have been underrated, but finally he has gotten his light and spotlight at Manchester United. You know, chance knocks once at every man's door. That is Sabitzer. In every bad thing that happens, in every bad day that really happens, in every bad situations that occurs, there are people that benefit. Now, in the bad situation that we've been into of not having money to sign players, Weghorst and Sabitzer are the beneficiaries. They're at Manchester United. They dream to be here. They are playing for the club. And welcome Marcel Sabitzer to Manchester United. May the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly. Smash this video close to 1,000 likes because this beast is in here to really take control of the midfield. Once again, I'm asking you, is the Premier League ready for Casemiro, Sabitzer, and Bruno Fernandes? I sign out.